I am Anthony Jones, returning citizen, core member of Chance for Life, former spokesperson of Crime Stoppers of Michigan. Currently, I am a chaplain with St. Mary's Mercy of Livonia, better known as Trinity Health, and host of the Chance for Life podcast.
I'm Andrea Isom, journalist, former TV news reporter, host, and national correspondent. I'm a friend and supporter of Chance for Life and have proudly been telling its story for more than 15 years, along with my husband and business partner, Joe Harris. And I am the co-host and producer of the Chance for Life podcast. When Tom and Jessica, before there was funding, before people were helping them financially. Talk about that.
It blew me away. I know about commitment. I'm committed to several things. My commitment is nothing compared to their commitment. This is that plain and simple. I've never seen anyone, seriously, that travels the length and the breadth of this state to make sure that they're there every single night of the week to help these men and women who are in these institutions, to do it consistently without funding. They had did this for at least 25 years out of their own pocket, which is another reason, I think, why the inmates really attached themselves to them, because they knew it wasn't because they were trying to collect a check from somewhere else. It was because it was coming from their heart. And they were pouring into people. And what they poured into them then built up a foundation that literally, again, transformed their lives. And so their commitment is unprecedented. Seriously, it is unprecedented, the commitment they put into this.
Your list of accolades and accomplishments is like an old school typewriter. and this is on it.
Well, my association with them is not an accolade to me. It is a privilege. It really is. It's a privilege to be able to share, to be able to represent them when I can, to be able to give them voice, to be able to bring their name up, whether I'm in a meeting, in a room, or talking one-on-one with individuals, because I know the hard work that they put in. I know the results that they produce firsthand. And so it's an honor and it's a privilege. It really is to be a part of Chance for Life.
When you are preaching, when you're ministering to returning citizens, what is something that you want them to know from you?
Here's what I want them to know. And when I was on the Parole Board, I told them this. When I'm ministering to them, I tell them this. Except for the grace of God, I'm right where you are. And I tell them this. I'm not where I am today because I didn't do any wrong. I'm where I am today because I never got caught.
Right.
That's it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm appreciative of the fact that God has covered me. However, why he's covered me, I don't know, but I'm appreciative that he's covered me, right? And so I let them know that same covering is available to you, that you're not defined by any decisions that you made. You're not defined by where you are right now. And I tell them, it was Joseph who was in prison, but yet he made the best of his situation. It was Paul who was in prison, but he made the best of his situation. And so just because you're in prison doesn't necessarily mean that your mind is in prison. You can change your environment by how you think and how you approach life and how you improve yourself at that particular point in time. So, I had talked to them one time up, I believe it was in Parnell, we were talking about transformation, how you transform yourself from the inside out. And that's what being in those places are. To me, it's a timeout. It's a time out to collect yourself. It's a time out to renew yourself, to rethink who you are and who you want to be moving forward. And you have to know and understand that even if this is my assignment for the next 10 or 15 years, how do I take these next 5, 10, 7, 15 years and transform other people's lives as a result?
And I think this is where you are. It wasn't just about you.
Right.
And you say that all the time. It's not about me.
Right.
Because you have to take other people with you in order for you to grow and flourish, because that's the way God intended for us to move.
Exactly.
And you say that all the time.
That's for everybody. Everybody on the planet is here for somebody else. You're not here for yourself. And when you realize that, then you begin to utilize who you are. And that's the thing that Chance for Life gives you from the inside. When you're on the inside, you need this type of structure in order to keep you from being sucked in, because it's by design that you falter, because there are so many pitfalls. I mean, if your pencil is on the table crooked, it could be a problem depending on who has the authority in that day.
Right.
So you need this type of structure to remind you that that's a small issue. You don't lose yourself on a small issue. Other than that, you would lose yourself on that because it's the norm where you are. And you can get sucked in by the norm if you don't see any other thing.
What do you think about hearing him say that? What do you think about that?
Oh, it's 100% true. It's all about decisions and being able to think ahead of time on what my response is going to be based on the circumstance I find myself in, right? And the reason why a lot of folk, including myself, sometimes get in trouble is because we don't think before things happen and we just react. And it's when we don't pause, it's when we don't reflect, it's when we don't count ourselves to 5 or to 10, and then we just move forward impulsively that we find ourselves in trouble. But there are a number of situations where you have to think, okay, if this is going to get me in trouble, or if I'm already in trouble, I got to be able to think my way out, not fight my way out, not cuss my way out, not lie my way out. But how do I change what I can change? 'Cause I tell people all the time, you know, there are things that happen around us we can't change, but the one thing we always can change are the things that happen in us. And that's what I believe Anthony was dealing with. How do I change my internal motivations to make sure that my thinking is right? So that no matter whether I'm inside, outside, that I'm doing the right things for the right reason, for the right cause.
And once you buy into what Chance for Life offers you, is to rethink your situation and get back to the norm. Like you said, change the mind. Without thought, I'm still using things I learned. I talk about my 9-year-old granddaughter, Zion. So Zion, whoo. So she'll do some things. Of course, she's 9. She's not thinking. So I'm talking to her about how to look at it different. How do you look at this different? Because you know the way you just did it, you're going to have some issues with your mom. So how do you do it different? And I don't tell her. I give her a chance to think about it.
Absolutely.
But she knows one thing. She needs to think about it. So the things that I learned from Chance for Life, I'm still utilizing with the family, on the job, wherever you go, because you can't just erase who you become.
Yeah, because it wasn't just a check off.
It's who you are.
It's in here.
It's
in
right.
Here
It's a
and
change.
Yeah.
It's a change.
Yeah. So, okay, so you know all these things. You share these things with people. How do we, and I think we kind of talked about this before, but how do we take what we know on top of exposure, to get this, obviously, prisons across the state, out of the state, because we know it's working. It is evidence proven that it's working.
100%.
And so beyond exposure, what's next?
It's elections, you know what I'm saying? So it's about being politically astute and aware, knowing who you vote for and why you're voting for them, and being able to talk to them on either side of the political spectrum. I told my congregation a long time ago, they asked me if I was a Democrat or Republican. I said I'm a relationist. I said I am the person who, if I have a relationship with you, I can support you. If I have your number, that I can call you because somebody in my congregation needs your service and you answer my phone call, then I'm on your side. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter to me. And so I think as from a Chance for Life perspective, one of the things that they've done is that they have not defined themselves as a Republican, as a Democratic or Independent organization, but one who wants to build a relationship with people. We have to make sure that we teach people how to support politicians because they make critical decisions about where the resources go. So we have to build that up. All of us need to be lobbyists, a type of lobbyist, if you will, for Chance for Life, to say, look, we know this happens. Again, all of us have people in our family or people we know who are coming back home. So how do we make that environment best? We don't make the environment best once they get here. We start that environment once they're there while we change their thinking. And doing that is Chance for Life. Again, I'm experienced with seeing how people have done with violence prevention program, sex offending program, domestic violence program, you name the programs. And none of them have the depth that a Chance for Life program has. It just doesn't. It's not there. And so our job is to continue to knock on the doors, continue to talk to those people who are funding prison programs, those people who can help us get into and talk to those people and say, look, you got to have this in every prison. And we do it on a national level as well. I think you have to go national with it. You have to talk to the people at the National Correction Institutes and let them know what the results have been, because it's phenomenal.